Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies, James Acquay. Right, and on behalf of the members of the Commonwealth Telecommunications Organization, I welcome you. Is it off? Sorry, I'll start again. On behalf of the chairman of the Commonwealth Telecommunications Organization, I welcome you to our panelist, Professor Nick Bish, Vice Chancellor of Middlesex University, Mr. Peter Sladignani, Director of the Botswana Communications Regulatory Authority, Mr. Anthony Watkins, the CEO of Odyssey Consulting, members of the CTO, chairs, speakers, panelists, faculty and students of Middlesex University, delegates from across the Commonwealth who are joining us online. And I understand we have students from the Middlesex University campus in Mauritius joining us. We're very happy to have you. Fellowship of the Fellows of the Commonwealth Scholarship Commission. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this 2022 edition of the Human Resources and ICT Forum, which has as its theme, adapt, innovate, and evolve the roles of HR and ICT. And this 12th edition of the forum, and as our MC said, the first hybrid organization that the CTO is convening, is being convened in partnership with Middlesex University. It represents the initiation of a relationship that will further the cause of building equitable, inclusive societies. So there's a special welcome to the faculty and staff and students of Middlesex University. By way of introduction, the CTO is the oldest intergovernmental organization dedicated to supporting its members in adopting and making effective use of information and communication technologies, or ICT. With a history dating back to 1901, the CTO's early work was focused on telegraphy, and it was established it was called the Pacific Board to close the global telegraphy network. There was a gap from the Pacific to Canada, and the original Pacific Board, which is the origin of the CTO, that board was charged with the responsibility for closing that global telegraphy system. In our later years, as of course the technology would have moved on from to wireless technologies and so on, the CTO was focused on telecommunications, and now in this current era, its mandate is to facilitate effective adoption and use of information and communication technologies, and to support our members in achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And through its core functions of technical advice, research, capacity building, and knowledge sharing events like this forum, the CTO supports its Commonwealth members in their ICT-enabled development aspirations. In 2012, we defined a new course and streamlined our operations to support members in the formulation and implementation of digital transformation plans. And the CTO's focus will be on establishing 21st century governments. And those are governments that are citizen-centric, that make effective use of technology to deliver their services to their citizens and their clients. There are many benefits of digital government, and we are focused on helping our member countries establish what we call 21st century governments. The other area of focus is affordable, universal broadband connectivity. And this is what, and our goal is to have a measurable impact in our member countries. But in these remarks, I just want to focus a little bit on change. And change is a fundamental characteristic of our existence. Change is inevitable. As human beings, we feel comfortable when changes are under our control. But over the last 3 decades, we've been witnessing rapid technological innovation that has been dismantling the traditional frameworks that govern how we live. And these changes, the technological innovation has been opening up new possibilities for how we live. Information and communication technologies are now linked to everyday activities. Think about it. We're using smartphones as a matter of course. Our lives are ordered by the technology. We use it in our social interactions, in entertainment, in so many different spheres. It is linked to our everyday activities. So we were moving along with the technology as it evolved, and then came COVID-19. And this pandemic catapulted us into an era of individual insecurity, business calamity, multi-sectoral crises, economic turmoil, and uncertainty. And what the pandemic did, it caused those technologies to be embedded more deeply into the fabric of our everyday lives. So you had children going to school online. You didn't go to the supermarket. You called, you made an order, and it was delivered. Yes? So the pandemic really forced a deeper embedding of technologies into our everyday lives. And as we distanced ourselves, ICT became the lifeline for our existence. And when I use my own example, when I joined the CTO in August 2020, I was working remotely, using the technology, engaging with my staff, and I did this for almost 2 years. Yes? And it's only last week I actually physically met my staff for the first time. So what is sure is that there's no returning to December 2019. We have to embrace our changed and changing world and consider the profound effects on business, the nature of work, the workplace, perceptions and disposition of workers, for the very survival. We have to consider the very survival of organizations. And it is imperative that organizations re-examine or reimagine their missions, yes, and adapt to the unfolding environment, that they innovate and evolve if they are to survive and be competitive in an environment of great uncertainty. At this 2020 HR and ICT Forum, we will be considering appropriate responses of organizations to these phenomenal changes and the role of human resources and ICT in supporting business transformation. And this morning, or over the course of the 2 days, we have a cadre of exceptional speakers with wide experience on business transformation, technology, and human resource practices, who will be explaining the need for adaptation, the necessity of innovation in the evolution of organizations, and how information and communication technologies can improve efficiency and the HR practices for building strong organizations in the post-pandemic era. In closing, I would be remiss if I did not make mention of Dr. Jackie Jeffrey, who was instrumental in forging this partnership with Middlesex University, and for Vice Chancellor Beach, who has been so very gracious. And of course, for the staff of Middlesex University, for the tremendous support we have received in the planning and organizing of this week's activity. To you, present and online, I would like to thank you for joining us this morning, and we are so pleased to have you with us. I encourage you to make use of the question sessions and have your concerns addressed. Engage the speakers. It's not just about the speakers coming up and disseminating. It is to spur your thinking and to engage you in discussion so that when you leave here, you would be leaving with more insight, with tools, with ideas that would help you in your own endeavors and in your own organization. So I'm encouraging you, let those discussion format sessions be vibrant and engaging. And with that, I wish you all an informative and enlightening Human Resources and ICT Forum 2022. And I say welcome to you all. Thank you.